In a future where citizenship is a privilege earned only through military service, humanity is locked in a brutal war against a terrifying alien species. On the Federal Network, propaganda is king. It sells a glorious vision of war, urging every young person to join the mobile infantry and become a hero. The message is simple and relentless. Service guarantees citizenship. But beneath the patriotic fervor lies a chilling reality. The enemy, a race of giant arachnids, are not just mindless beasts. They can hurl asteroids across space, turning entire cities into dust. This existential threat has pushed humanity to a full-scale invasion of the bug home world, Klendathu. The initial assault is broadcast live, a spectacle of confidence and military might. Troopers land on what they call Big K, an ugly, hostile planet. But the glorious invasion quickly devolves into a horrifying massacre. The soldiers are torn apart, their screams lost in the chaos of battle. This is the war our story is hurtling towards. But to understand how we got here, we must go back 1 year. We meet Johnny Rico, a high school student, more interested in doodling and his girlfriend than in civics class. His teacher, Mr. Rasak, a combat veteran, missing an arm, poses a provocative question. He argues that the peace they enjoy was built not on democracy, but on the stability imposed by veterans who seized control. He challenges his students on the nature of their society, asking why only citizens, those who have served, are allowed to vote. A student suggests it is a reward for service, but Rasak dismisses this. He declares that something given has no value. Voting is an exercise of force, and force is violence, the supreme authority. When a student parrots the pacifist idea that violence solves nothing, Rasak coldly invokes the destruction of Hiroshima as the ultimate counter-argument. Naked force, he insists, has resolved more issues in history than any other factor. He then directs a question at Rico: what is the moral difference between a civilian and a citizen? Rico recites the textbook answer: a citizen accepts personal responsibility for the state, defending it with his life, while a civilian does not. Rasak pushes further, asking if Rico truly understands or believes it. Rico admits he doesn't know. The teacher scoffs, doubting any of them would recognize civic virtue if it bit them. After class, Rico's world is much simpler. It revolves around his girlfriend, Carmen, and their future. Carmen is a brilliant math student with dreams of joining the Fleet Academy and becoming a starship pilot. She aces her math final with a stunning 97%, a testament to her ambition. Rico, on the other hand, scores a dismal 35%, a fact his psychic friend Carl gleefully announces to the entire hall. Carl, gifted with telepathic abilities, playfully teases Rico about his obvious crush on Carmen. Despite his poor grades, Rico's life seems perfect, filled with friends and the promise of a football victory. Later, in biology class, the lesson is a grim parallel to their teacher's philosophy. They dissect a giant bug. The teacher explains the bug's superiority. It reproduces in vast numbers, has no ego, and no fear of death, making it the perfect selfless member of society. Carmen argues for humanity's achievements, but the teacher counters with the bug's ability to colonize planets by hurling their spores into space. The visceral reality of the bug causes Carmen to get sick, questioning her nerves of steel. Meanwhile, Carl is testing Rico for psychic abilities, a federal study exploring a potential new stage of human evolution. Rico fails spectacularly. Carl, however, demonstrates his own powers by telepathically commanding his pet ferret, Serrano, to cause a ruckus. That night is the big game, and it is also Rico's rival, Xander's last night as a civilian before he ships off to Fleet Academy. Xander makes a pass at Carmen, taunting Rico with the phrase, "All is fair in love and war." On the field, Rico is distracted, but his teammate Dizzy Flores, who has a so secret crush on him, snaps him back into focus. With seconds on the clock, Rico executes a daring flip play, scoring the winning touchdown. But the victory celebration at home is cut short. His wealthy parents have discovered his application for federal service. His father is furious, forbidding him from ruining his life. He blames Rico's teacher, Rasak, for planting the idea. They offer him a lavish trip to Zegama Beach, trying to buy his compliance, but Rico is resolute. It is his decision. At the graduation dance, Dizzy tries to get close to Rico, but his heart is set on Carmen. He asks her why they never got together, but Rico gently lets her down, saying they should just be friends. Rico seeks out Rasak for advice. He wants to join up to become a citizen, but his parents are against it. Rasak offers no easy answers, only a profound piece of wisdom. Figuring things out for yourself is the only freedom anyone really has. Use that freedom. Make up your own mind, Rico. Later, Rico finds Carmen, who is being courted by Xander. The rivalry is palpable. After a dance, Rico makes his declaration. He has decided to enlist in federal service. Thrilled, Carmen reveals she and Carl are signing up the next day and invites him to come along. This decision solidifies their bond. The next day, they raise their hands and swear an oath to the Federation, their lives now belonging to the military. Their aptitude tests yield different paths. Carmen's math skills land her in pilot training. Carl's psychic abilities place him in the prestigious military intelligence. Rico, with his athletic prowess but poor academics, is assigned to the mobile infantry, the front-line grunts. They make a pact to always be friends, even as they are about to be scattered across millions of light years. Rico's decision creates a final, painful rift with his parents. His father officially cuts him off. His mother tearfully asks if he is ruining his life over a girl, but Rico defends Carmen, his resolve unbroken. At the transport hub, he shares a final tender moment with Carmen before she departs for the Fleet Academy. He tells her he loves her, and after a moment's hesitation, she says it back. They promise to write. Rico arrives at boot camp, and his idealistic view of service is immediately shattered. He and the other recruits are met by the terrifying career Sergeant Zim. Zim's methods are brutal and unforgiving. He tells them they can quit anytime, but the path to washing out is one of shame. He challenges anyone to knock him down. A cocky recruit takes the bait and ends up with a broken arm. Just then, Dizzy Flores arrives, having specifically requested a transfer to this brutal training unit. Zim tests her resolve, and she proves her toughness, earning a shot at squad leader. In the mess hall, Rico meets Ace Levy, a cocky but capable rival. Rico confronts Dizzy, annoyed that she followed him here, believing she joined because of him. She doesn't deny it. The training is savage. In a knife throwing exercise, a recruit questions the utility of a knife in a nuclear fight. As punishment, Zim orders him to put his hand on the wall and throws a knife through it, coldly stating, "The enemy cannot push a button if you disable his hand." In the communal showers, the recruits share their reasons for joining: to escape farm life, to enter politics, to pay for college, or to get a license to have babies. When pressed, Dizzy reveals Rico's secret. He is here for a girl, much to his embarrassment. Rico writes to Carmen, sharing his struggles and his hope of becoming squad leader. Unseen by him, Dizzy watches the message with a sad smile. Meanwhile, Carmen is excelling at the Fleet Academy. Her skill in simulations is legendary. Today, she gets to fly a real starship, but her assistant instructor is none other than her old rival, Xander. Xander reveals he pulled strings to be assigned to her. His intentions clear. As they take the ship out, he flirts, but Carmen remains professional, though the tension is obvious. Back at camp, Rico leads his squad in a tactical exercise. His football skills translate surprisingly well to battlefield strategy. With Dizzy's help, he leads his team to victory, catching Sergeant Zim's attention. Impressed, Zim promotes Rico to squad leader. Dizzy is genuinely happy for him, and they finally reconcile, agreeing to be friends. But Rico's triumph is short-lived. A video message arrives from Carmen. She tells him she has decided to make the fleet her career. She wants to command her own ship, and she doesn't think their relationship will fit into that future. She breaks up with him, asking to always be friends. Rico is devastated. Ace tries to console him, but Rico confesses the truth. He only joined up for her. He feels his entire purpose for being there has vanished. Distracted and heartbroken, Rico's leadership falters during the next live fire exercise. When a recruit's helmet malfunctions, Rico, desperate to win, gives him permission to remove it, a fatal mistake. A stray shot ricochets, killing the unprotected soldier. Rico is held responsible for incompetence of command and negligence. He is sentenced to administrative punishment, 10 lashes. Sergeant Zim, the man who tormented him, now carries out the sentence, a grim display of the brutal code they live by. Meanwhile, far away in space, Carmen and Xander's ship is struck by an asteroid, launched by the bugs from the arachnid quarantine zone. Their communications are down, and they are unable to warn Earth of the incoming threat. Back at camp, ashamed and broken, Rico decides to quit. He has proven to himself that he doesn't have what it takes. He calls his parents, swallowing his pride, and asking to come home. They lovingly welcome him back, but as they speak, the sky over Buenos Aires darkens. The call is cut off by atmospheric interference. As he prepares to leave, Dizzy confronts him. Walking away, she says, only proves he doesn't have what it takes to be a citizen. Suddenly, alarms blare. The recruits gather around a news screen. A massive meteor has struck Earth. The city is in ruins. It is not Geneva. It is Buenos Aires. Rico's home has been wiped off the map. The Federation declares war. Over 8 million are dead. For Rico, the war is now deeply personal. Filled with a new, vengeful purpose, he goes to his commanding officer and asks to rescind his resignation. The officer, seeing the fire in Rico's eyes and knowing his tragedy, loses the resignation form. Rico is back in the infantry. The Federation's war machine kicks into high gear. Propaganda now fuels a global thirst for revenge. The only good bug is a dead bug. At a fleet battle station, the troops are buzzing with confidence, ready for the invasion of Clendathu. Rico, now a hardened soldier, boldly declares on the news, "I am from Buenos Aires, and I say kill them all." In the chaos of the station, he runs into Carmen. The reunion is awkward and painful. He sees she is now with Xander, her flight partner. The old rivalry ignites instantly. Xander belittles the mobile infantry, and Rico, refusing to be provoked by an officer, stands down, but Xander pushes it, disregarding rank. A brutal fight erupts, a clash between the elite fleet and the grunts of the infantry, only to be broken up by the call to battle. The invasion of Klendathu begins. Rico's unit is in the first wave. Their excitement is palpable, but military intelligence has made a catastrophic error. The bug's plasma defenses are not random and light. They are a coordinated, deadly barrage. Starships are torn apart in orbit. Carmen and Xander barely escape as their ship is crippled. On the ground, it is even worse. The confident soldiers are thrown into a meat grinder. They are overwhelmed, outmaneuvered, and slaughtered by the thousands. The battle turns into a panicked, bloody retreat. Rico watches his comrades die. Horrible deaths. The glory of war replaced by the stench of failure and death. The invasion is a total disaster, resulting in over 100,000 casualties in 1 hour. The Sky Marshal resigns, and a new strategy is announced. To fight the bug, they must first understand the bug. Scientists debate the existence of an intelligent brain bug coordinating the arachnid forces. Rico survives, but is listed as killed in action. Carmen sees his name on the casualty list and is heartbroken. Rico, Ace, and Dizzy are reassigned to a new unit, the legendary Roughnecks, led by their old teacher, now Lieutenant Rasak. Rasak's rule is simple. Everyone fights, no one quits. If you don't do your job, I'll shoot you. Their new strategy is to mop up bug colonies, one planet at a time. On their first mission on Tango Urilla, they encounter a new threat, a massive fire-breathing tanker bug. Using his old football play, Rico leaps onto the creature's back, directing fire to its weak spot and bringing it down. Impressed, Rasak promotes him to corporal. Needing a new squad leader, Rico reluctantly passes, so Dizzy steps up, eager for the responsibility. During a night of celebration, Rasak gives Rico some advice. Never pass up a good thing, taking it to heart. Rico finally gives in to his feelings for Dizzy. They spend the night together, finding a moment of peace in the unending war. Their bliss is interrupted by an urgent mission, a distress call from a General Owen on Planet P. Rasak gives them 20 minutes, a knowing acknowledgement of their newfound relationship. On Planet P, they find the outpost decimated. It is a slaughterhouse. This was no ordinary attack. Rico discovers a horrifying sight, an officer with a hole in his skull. Rasak realizes the bugs sucked his brains out. They find General Owen, who is alive but terrified. He reveals the horrifying truth. The distress call was a trap. The bugs made one of his men send it. They can get inside your mind. The outpost is immediately swarmed. In the ensuing chaos, Rasak is viciously attacked, his legs severed by a bug. With his last breaths, he orders Rico to do what must be done. Rico puts his former teacher out of his misery with a single shot. As they retreat to the extraction boat, the ground gives way. Dizzy is mortally wounded by a bug. Rico carries her aboard, but it is too late. She dies in his arms, telling him she is happy because she got to have him. Rico, now in command, requests bombardment of the planet, but Carmen, on the other end of the comm, denies the request. The Sky Marshal has other plans. At Dizzy's funeral, Rico delivers a eulogy. He finally understands the difference between a citizen and a civilian. A citizen has the courage to make the safety of the race their personal responsibility. After the funeral, he is reunited with both Carmen and Carl, now a high-ranking colonel in intelligence. Carl reveals the mission was a calculated risk. They knew there might be a brain bug on Planet P and sent the Roughnecks in as bait. Carmen is horrified, but Carl is cold and pragmatic. We're in this for the species. It is simple numbers. He tells them they are going back to Planet P to capture the brain. He offers Rico a field promotion to lieutenant to lead the Roughnecks. Rico accepts, echoing Rasak's old words, "Until I get killed, or you find someone better." Now Lieutenant Rico addresses his new, green recruits, using the same intimidating speech Rasak and Zim used on him. The cycle of brutal leadership continues. As Rico's Roughnecks invade Planet P, Carmen and Xander's ship is attacked by bug plasma and crash, lands deep inside the bug tunnels. They survive the crash, but are quickly captured by warrior bugs. Rico picks up Carmen's distress call. Ace tells him to forget it, that she is already dead, and they must stick to the mission. But Rico, now a true leader, makes a choice. He will not abandon his people. He asks for 2 volunteers to go on a rescue mission. Ace and another soldier immediately step forward. They will follow their lieutenant anywhere. Deep in the bug tunnels, Carmen and Xander are brought before the grotesque brain bug. The creature pierces Xander's skull with its proboscis, sucking his brain dry and absorbing his knowledge. As it turns to Carmen, Rico and Ace arrive. Rico, holding a nuke, creates a standoff with the intelligent creature. But before he can act, they are saved by an unlikely hero, Sergeant Zim, who had busted himself down to private to see combat. He tackles the brain bug's guards. The brain bug tries to escape, but Rico, Carmen, and Ace manage to capture it. They bring the creature to the surface, where the troops erupt in celebration. They have captured a live brain bug. Colonel Carl arrives and uses his psychic powers to probe the creature's mind. He turns to the soldiers and says, "It is afraid." The capture is hailed as a turning point in the war. The hero of the day is Zim, who is allowed to remain a private as he wished. The film ends as it began, with a propaganda broadcast. Rico, Carmen, and Ace are the new poster children for the war effort. They lead a charge of fresh-faced recruits, ready to fight and die for the Federation, forever chasing the promise that service guarantees citizenship.